Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 linebackers that the Washington football team should target in free agency this offseason. At the end of the video, we'll talk about the Deshaun Watson news for a little bit. So if you guys are new, subscribe for Washington and NFL content. So let's get right into the video. So as most of you guys know, linebacker is one of our biggest needs this offseason and our biggest need on defense, and we can address it in free agency or in the draft, and I think it's going to be a little bit of both, and this linebacker class in free agency is pretty solid, so we are going to have a few options this offseason to attack that position. You know, we have Cole Holcomb, who is a solid linebacker and actually could end up playing middle linebacker for us, but besides that, we need someone else that can be a high impact player at the linebacker position. So let's start off with the first player on this list, and it is Levante David, who is playing in the Super Bowl next week. You know, he's played really well this year, 113 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 6 pass deflections, 1 interception, 3 forced fumble. He hasn't been outstanding in coverage, allowing about 70% completion percentage with about a 93 passer rating, but the year before this year, he had allowed a 63% completion percentage with a 73 passer rating. So he's solid in coverage, and he's a really good tackler, and that's what we need at that position. We need someone who's solid in the run game, and he is definitely that. Is okay in coverage, like I said, got an interception this year, and allows an okay pass rating, but he also can force some turnovers with 3 forced fumbles this year. And you look at his career, he usually forces on average probably 2 fumbles a season, which is needed at that linebacker position. And he can get to the quarterback a little bit too. 1.5 sacks this year, had 3.5 one season, had 5 another, so and 7 in his second year, so he can get to the quarterback. But the biggest thing with him, he's a big guy, and he can be a high impact player in the run game. He is going to be expensive though, so if we trade for someone like Matthew Stafford or a different quarterback, or we sign a quarterback in free agency that has a high cap number, then this is probably not the likely route. But if we do stick with the guys we have on our roster or make a small upgrade, this could definitely happen. This is the most expensive player on this list for today. The next guy is KJ Wright, and he's been a solid linebacker for the Seahawks for a very long time. This year played in 16 games, about 82 tackles, 2 sacks, 10 pass deflections, and 1 interception, and he did have a forced fumble, so pretty solid. He's going to get a hefty payday, not as much as Levante David in my opinion, but it'll be up there. So a similar situation to last year. He's had some really good seasons. 2019, 126 tackles, 11 pass deflections. He is pretty solid in coverage, similar to Levante David. Has 10 pass deflections this past year, and solid also in the run game. I do like Levante David a lot better, but if he's not available, then KJ Wright would be a solid second option. The next guy on this list is Jayon Brown from the Titans, and he is one of the most underrated players, linebackers in this year's free agency. This year, he only played in 10 games, had about 72 tackles, 41 solo tackles, a sack, and interception. Was playing a little bit hurt, so his coverage numbers weren't great. He allowed a 72% completion percentage and 115.3 pass rating, but last year when he was full or close to fully healthy, allowed a 68% completion percentage and a 77 pass rating, which is pretty good numbers, similar to Levante David. So, and he's a good tackler, can get to the quarterback. In 2018 got 6 sacks. We don't really need that much. We just need someone that can be solid in the run game and can be serviceable in coverage, because our one of our biggest weaknesses this year on our defense was our ability to stop the run, and our D-line could have done a little bit better, sure, but it was mostly on the linebackers, and I think adding someone who's a good run stopper is going to be huge this offseason, like I said, whether it's in the draft or in free agency. And the next one is a guy that we all know, and it is Reuben Foster, and I think it would be a good idea to bring him back. He's been injured the last time he played was 2018, and he really only played a few games that year. If we can get him for cheap, I think his upside is there. I don't think he's going to be a star player right away, and it would be good if he could just be an okay starter, but he's got that talent, and I think, he's been rehabbing with us for a couple years. I think he probably wants to stay here if he can. If we can get him on another 1-year deal for very cheap, I think the upside's there. Maybe not put some high guarantees, and if he isn't the guy he was, because his athleticism this summer in training camp was just not there, and that's part of the reason they put him on IR. So if he can get back to that point, then I think it would be a high upside signing, because you got to remember, he was a first round pick in 2017 and got injured before the 2019 season and hasn't really fully recovered ever since. So I would like to bring him back very cheap though, and see where he goes from there. And the next guy, there's a couple guys after these first four. A lot of high price guys are outside linebackers, and we really don't need that. Devon Millers, Matthew Judons, we don't need those guys because we already got DNs that can do what they do but better. But, Josh Bynes would be a solid option. Alex Singleton from the Eagles would be a solid option. Only problem with him is he's an exclusive rights free agent, so it would be hard to get him. But, Josh Bynes from the Bengals played pretty solid this year. 94 tackles, a sack, 2 pass deflections. And, he's also good in coverage. So I think it would be a solid signing right there. But I would focus more on the first 3 if you're going to make a big signing in free agency. I think definitely they're going to consider signing someone like Jayon Brown, because he's going to be somewhat expensive, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as much as someone like KJ Wright and Levante David. And Jayon Brown is much younger, so he has a lot more he has a lot more room to grow, and he's going to be in his prime for a few more years than KJ Wright and Levante David are. Okay, so now real quick, we'll talk about the Deshaun Watson news that came out today. So Ian Rappaport tweeted, sources, Texans QB Deshaun Watson has requested a trade from Houston. He has a no trade clause, and by virtue of his contract would decide what places would be acceptable. And a lot of Washington fans are excited, me included, but we all know it's very unlikely that it would happen due to, we don't have as much draft capital as some other teams. I mean, you look at the Jets. They have the number 2 overall pick. They have Sam Darnold. They have the number 23 overall pick. The Dolphins have 2 first-round picks and Tua. The Jets also have Sam Darnold. Ian Rappaport said on this on WFAN, said he could see a situation where Watson has the opportunity to talk with an interested team to see what their plans are. Said his sense is the Texans would like to trade to the NFC, mentions Carolina, Washington football team, but said he doesn't think they rule out an AFC team. So obviously they want to trade to the NFC, but that doesn't mean they will. If the best offer by far is the Dolphins or the Jets, they'll do it. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think we could package some first round picks and maybe possibly a player, but I just think that other teams have much more, they have better trade packages. And, I do think Deshaun Watson's going to get traded, but you never know. They could fix it up. Probably not going to happen, but there is still a chance with that. Would love for it to happen, but it's very unlikely. But like I said, you never know. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new. Turn on those post notifications so you never miss a video. And peace. See you guys next time.